Hello, I'm Dr. Brandt Gibson. Have you ever done a sport or done something and where you dropped something on your toenail or you injured your toenail and it got really, really painful and you looked at it and it was there was bleeding underneath it and it was hurting so much that you didn't know exactly what to do? Hello, there is a situation where you can get bleeding under the nail, where you can injure the nail bed, and the nail's still intact, still right where it's supposed to be, but you start to get bleeding underneath. If we were to look at this here, I'm using this picture just because it shows a pretty good picture of the toenail here. If you have area where it's growing bleeding in this area, you're getting more and more redness, more and more bleeding in that nail, because of the intactness of that nail, you're going to get increased pressure underneath. It's going to start to be very, very painful, and it gets to the point where you can hardly stand it. There's two different things that could happen. One is the nail will lift and it will allow it to drain out. The pain goes away, but you a lot of times will lose that toenail. Option number two is it just continues to get worse and worse and you get severe pain. And the best thing you can do in that case is release the pressure. So basically what you would do is you put something right in the nail there. The best is to take a needle, sterilize a needle or heat up a needle, and you stick it right on that nail there and you twist it until it goes through the nail. You won't feel it until it goes all the way through. Once it goes through, it will hurt. I can't say it won't, but bleeding will come out and it will sometimes, depending on how much pressure, it can actually shoot out once that hole is open, and it allows a decrease in the pressure, decrease in the pain, and it helps a significant amount. Basically what's happening is you've injured the tissue underneath the nail and it can cause pretty significant pain. So if you have a new injury where you're starting to see blackness under the nail, and it's increasingly painful, the best thing to do for that subungual hematoma, that bleeding under the toenail, is to create a hole in the nail so that the bleeding can come out. What that will do is allow the area to clot, but it will significantly decrease the pain in the process. And a lot of times it'll also allow you to keep your toenail. You won't end up losing the toenail from that injury. So again, if you have a toenail bleeding underneath it, I recommend that you treat it and that you get care. You don't necessarily need to go to the doctor. You don't need to go to the emergency room. You can usually do most of this at home. If you feel like it's not something you can do, you can go into the office and be seen by somebody that will actually penetrate the nail, drain it, and alleviate your symptoms. This is Dr. Brandt Gibson, and this is your Podiatry Tips Day 347, subungual hematoma, which is actually bleeding underneath the toenail. If this is a problem and you need some help doing this, you're welcome to come in and see us in the office. You can also find a doctor close to you that will do this. If you want additional information, go to utahfootdoc.com, and we can actually help direct you on what you need to do if there's other symptoms, other things you have questions about. Dr. Brandt Gibson, have a great